Well, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast. I'm gonna tell you something. I must have slept real good last night because I feel good this morning. I'm high and happy, for the lady, and porcupine proud to be here with you this morning for another episode, for another great version. Ain't that what you say, Leonard? Version of the American.
That's what you say.
They ain't how supposed to be said.
No, that's what you say.
Well, Captain Leonard, good morning to you, sir. How you doing
Good
this?
morning, morning, Glow family.
Hey, yes, sir. How was your weekend, Leonard?
The weekend went pretty well.
Good deal, good deal.
We took it easy this weekend.
Oh, okay. Now you know we had an soul training event Saturday.
What?
Yeah, the soul training event was Saturday.
How was it?
It was pretty good, man. We had a good time, man. Had people came out, man, and performed for us, man. Did a real good job, Leonard. Like I said, everybody. I look at things a little different than everybody else sometimes, Leonard. I I'm a real bad critic of myself, and so that being the case, I always want to up the ante a little bit and take it a little higher, take it a little higher, and take it a little higher. And but everybody that was there said they had a good time, man. We danced, we had some live entertainment, everything from musicians to singers to rappers. We had a little bit of everything. People did monologues. It was the entertainment. I think the entertainment was real good. But again, like I said myself, Lynn, I want to take it higher. I want to take it higher, man. I want to take it higher. Everybody said they had a good time, and it's actually we get a chance go to my YouTube channel and check it out. It's on my I didn't put it on Facebook. I put it on my YouTube channel. Facebook be tripping sometimes, so
Uh-huh.
I'm I'm trying to steer away from doing a lot of things on there, and so more I'm gearing everything towards my our actual channel, the DKM Media Group channel, which it was there, and it was also on our YouTube channel. But some news came across me, and I got a whip of it. And then I got a big gulp of it this morning, Leonard. Man, with this bill that Georgia just signed, man, Kemp is hurting the state, man. And the reason why I say he's hurting the state, and I want to know your input because this is your lane, man. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna let you go ahead on alley oop it, man. The Masters talking about pulling out of Augusta, man. You know what that's gonna do to Augusta in that area?
Well, that's what you get when you allow somebody like Brian Kemp and Republicans to lead your state. You see what the people do. The people did a good thing, but we still have issues at the state level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is why these things are happening. You should expect people to divest. People should divest from every state pushing voter disenfranchisement laws.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So one, I don't care nothing about no masters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they don't. I mean, that's for the business community. Now let's see if the good people who make all the money off the masters are interested in changing their point of view as it relates to voter disenfranchisement,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just ridiculous. And we know who making all the money out there
Oh
with
yes,
the
sir.
masters tournament.
Man, I lived in Augusta for 2 years. Had the encounter that Augusta, and honestly speaking, no disrespect to Augusta, but the Masters is all they have. That's it, man. Everything in Augusta gears toward the Masters, toward the Masters,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's their lottery ticket, man. And
Hmm.
if you take that lottery ticket out of Augusta, it's gonna cripple that city, man. It really is.
Well,
They
that's a decent price to pay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't have like I say, it's going. Let's see if the business community gets on board. You've seen other companies in the
Mhm,
news that have, there's a huge effort to stop supporting those corporations who give
mhm,
monies to people like Republicans who push
mhm,
these types of laws.
mhm.
These are
Wow.
disgusting individuals, and this is why I got kicked off for Facebook because I
Mhm.
said so.
They kick you off again, man.
Yeah, you know how I go. Who cares, really? You find out how much free time you have.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But man, I'm sitting out. I was sitting there and I got a whip of it a latter part of last week. But this morning it actually came on the news. They was talking about on the news about how they're working now to get the Masters out of Augusta. And I was like, wow, if that happened, because like I said again, Leonard, I lived there for 2 years in Augusta, so I know what that whole structure is like, what the climate is like,
Mm-hmm.
especially when the Masters come through, man. You a hotel room. I'm gonna tell you something. A hotel room that'll cost you maybe $60 or $70 during the regular time in Augusta gonna cost you $700-800 a night
Mm-hmm.
during the Masters.
I,
Man,
I
that's
live I live a little bit less than 100 miles from Augusta.
mm-hmm. I was
And
like, man,
even during when the Nationals are here, traffic and everything is much heavier
yes, sir.
going that way. But
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people that make money from restaurants and
Mm-hmm.
all those things in that city during the Masters tournament.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Everything is
It's
stockpiled,
a lot of
man.
racism in Augusta,
Yeah, it's a lot. There really is. There really is. The people,
right?
they try to cover it up a certain way, man.
Oh
But
yeah, of
know it's there.
course,
You know
of
it's there.
course.
You can see it.
Brother
Especially
Brown would Brother Brown had a notion to sing about it a lot of times.
and let you know
Yeah,
firsthand.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's Augusta's first son there, James Brown.
Mhm.
But my thing is, man, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot there. They try to cover it up, make it seem as though it don't exist. Oh, we all get along. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Stop playing. Stop playing. Come on, man. Okay. Look, let my black son date your white daughter then.
Yeah. Right. So, I
Let
mean,
them date.
so
They're friends. They friends. They like each other. Let them date. Yeah. You see how everything changes, man.
you know,
Well,
I don't care. I don't care nothing.
what else is going on? Talk to me, Leonard. What else is going on, man?
No, I
Did,
took
did,
it easy. When I say I took it easy this weekend,
mm-hmm.
I didn't do a whole lot when it comes to being involved with the social media scene or whatever,
Okay.
um, or what have you. But like one to say that the biggest thing is that voter disenfranchisement bill,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, a lot more people are getting more. Everyone now has access to the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Most I know for sure in Georgia and a lot of other countries. I mean, excuse me, a lot of other states. That was one of Biden's biggest plans because of his priority is getting
Mm-hmm.
out in front of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he has done is they've made sure that all vaccines are available to those people who want them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We opened up I think they opened up the dome. I'm not sure. Excuse me.
Yeah.
For people to
Mercedes.
get tested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mercedes Benz.
The churches, like say for instance, our church
Mm-hmm.
is set up now for vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of different local community nonprofit organizations and things like that sponsoring vaccinations.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things going on because that was, remember now, COVID is still out here and active.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's still, this last bill was huge to deal with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to work on the different types of things because one thing that the Republicans are working on is disenfranchising the vote.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they're not really doing anything necessarily positive with the bills that they've put forth. They're working to keep us from winning at the state level. That's where all their effort is focused. That strategy being disenfranchise the vote, which has always been a strategy for the GOP. So now you see they have the support to pass the bill, which
Mm-hmm.
means there are several people that support these types of legislators who are about this strategy of making it harder for minorities to vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fight is about. Because if you can't win the vote, you can't win any authority, you don't
Yeah.
have no lawmaking power or what have you, and business continues as usual. I'm sorry to say it, but many of our older individuals are very status quo.
Yeah.
They don't push uh, dramatic enough bills at this time.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do more work at engaging the public. The Democratic Party itself does not have a great plan on
Mm.
combating this issue other than people have to vote. If people don't vote, money wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happens.
And listen at the sound of that, man. Listen at the sound of that. It just the sound of that. It should make you cringe, man. Money wins, not the people,
Where
not the
you,
right of the people.
where you been living all this time?
I know, man. I know, but I got to, certain things I got to bring to the forefront, make people understand it, man. What's going on? I know where you at. I know exactly where you at.
Yeah.
I could knock on your door because I know exactly where you at right now.
Brother
But
Brown said so. Living in America. It is what it is.
exactly. Now let me ask you this: you spoke briefly about Biden, and he's
Mhm.
been in office. He's been not even a year yet. He hasn't even been in office a year. But if you had to grade him on what he's doing and what he's attempting to do, what grade would you give him right now? His administration.
No, right now I give him about a B.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Give him about a B. He's doing pretty much what he can.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Now
doing
what?
pretty much what he can.
Okay, what is eliminating him from getting that A?
Well, he has to. I think he's doing a great job at communicating and transparency when it comes to what he is doing.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think our foreign policy needs to really be. Yes, we have a lot of domestic issues. However, they have refocused, I think, and focused more on domestic issues than our foreign policy.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, but
Mhm.
it's strategy. It's what's needed. The people need to understand that this administration is supporting them first.
Okay.
The Democratic Party and Democratic candidates have to focus on people first
Mhm.
and go at the issues. Feelings to me don't work all that great.
Mhm.
Yes, you can do enough to persuade people to understand what you're talking about, but will it get them to the polls?
Mhm.
So it has to be getting people to the polls to vote. Because remember, it's about continuity and leadership. We get further ahead by continuing to elect Democrats
Mhm.
because they believe that there must be a balance between the business community and the needs of American citizens.
Let me ask you this, and I know the answer to this question already, but I'm asking for the people that's listening. Would it be fair? Would it be fair to say that you don't like the Republicans too much at all? That you lean more, you lean or you gear towards more towards the Democratic Party?
Well, I'm probably what you would call a very conservative individual
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the issues. But I've never voted Republican. I don't have any reason to. Their
Mm-hmm.
their their entire agenda is anti-American citizen.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot support that type of behavior. You're anti-American citizen, but you represent quote people. No, you
Mm.
don't. They represent corporate interest. They are never on the side of the American citizen when it comes to those things that are positive and progressive. Now, they'll support you killing one another.
Mm. Come
They'll
on.
support your incarceration.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do anything they can to disenfranchise you, period. Whether it be continuing to inflate prices and costs and providing for that. Your public service commission will continually provide for exorbitant amounts of money for electric and water bills and all these types of things. Now, if you don't understand that connection by now, you probably not eligible to vote because of your mental status.
Mm-hmm.
If you black and you Republican, you definitely an enemy. You're definitely an enemy.
Mm.
I call in 678-381-1973. You just voted against black people voting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you did if you're a Republican. And if you're a black one, you're a shame and a disgrace to your ancestors.
So you don't think a black man should be a Republican?
I don't think a black man should be a Republican today.
Okay. Okay.
That's clear. It's clear. There's no debate about that. Why
Mm-hmm.
would you vote against your ability to vote?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you participate in anything like that?
Now,
You might as well be anti-Harriet, anti-Harriet Tubman and everything else.
mm-hmm.
That's why don't nobody trust you, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't even sound like you are concerned about us.
678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. The phone lines are open. Give us a call. We love to hear from you. And if you are black or Republican and just happen to be black, give us a call as well. Let's have a conversation. We ain't gonna beat you up. We ain't gonna beat you up too bad.
Right? Not.
678-381-1973. There may be some people out there that's a black and Republican and feel as though they're absolutely right. They're comfortable in who they are and what they
Right.
represent as a black Republican.
Yeah.
There's
Most house Negroes are comfortable.
Mm,
That's why they vote Republican.
wow. Did y'all not I'm not gonna say that y'all hear that. Did y'all heard that? Did y'all heard that? I go out again. Sometimes you just gotta go country with it. Did y'all heard that? 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Leonard Kim is acting up. What the boy named Dr. Kim over there? He
Who?
they say he tested some kind of missiles or something. He's over there testing the waters, and they say
Mm.
it was a direct insult toward the Biden administration, what he's doing, because it's going against all the what they call it, NASA, what you call that thing?
Well, I'm assuming you're talking about some treaty we may have or agreement we
Yeah,
may have with
they-
Korea.
yeah, yeah, mm-hmm,
Well, you do know that Korea tests whenever they would like to. And the issue with Korea is definitely spending and investing in more nuclear submarines.
mm-hmm,
One of the issues with Korea is supposedly they didn't have a missile that could go across continents.
mm-hmm,
And that is the whole purpose of having these nuclear powered submarines. Because as we know that we have a huge fleet of submarines,
mm-hmm.
and they carry nuclear weapons and they sit right outside people's front door.
Wow.
Korea is developing that ability.
How dangerous is that?
It's extremely dangerous. It's about as dangerous as America as well, except for now one of the biggest issues was the fact that Korea was dealing with someone more like them when they had a Donald Trump in office.
Mm-hmm.
So they really weren't too much concerned with anything. They just talk real loud and just try to create fear.
Mm-hmm.
So Korea has always been under suspicion. We've always monitored Korea, the largest thing being their investment in building these new docks and everything, and building these nuclear submarines.
I'm gonna ask you what may appear to be a crazy question, because I live here in America, been living in America all my life. But what is it about America that make them think that they could have all this power, all these missiles and all these warfare, and the rest of the world can't?
Do you know any drug dealers?
Yes.
Same reason.
Mm,
Ego. Ego. Men.
mm.
Men will fight about anything. It don't matter. This ain't nothing more than a schoolyard fight. Just add billions of dollars to it.
Wow.
And millions and millions and millions of people.
Mhm.
Billion. How many are? Well, last kind of think the popular number is around 7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
But these are just people with enough money to kill one another at massive rate.
And I like how you use the vision of a drug dealer, because a lot of time, drug dealers want to think that they got the most power. They
And
got
see,
all.
that's what I'm always trying to get people to understand. This is
Mm-hmm.
why the shock and amazement that some people feel is strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way probably the same way many people actually are themselves. Just add a budget to it.
Yeah.
Just add a budget to your wickedness and see what happens.
It's gonna catapult it to a totally different level.
Yeah, some people, some women would buy tanks just to blow up their baby daddy house if they could.
Wow.
I'm just saying, you got
Yeah.
warfare being practiced in your streets by drug dealers and everybody else, police officers and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not hard for me to understand why things are happening the way they are.
That's crazy.
Look who you let have the authority.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that, you downhill.
Look who you gave the key to.
Yeah. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I get more upset about why people aren't doing anything than why it's happening. We need to be stopping it from happening. We can talk about it later. We can be mad about it or whatever later, but we need to stop it from happening.
And what effort do we need to put into place to make sure that it does stop?
Well, decent people need to vote, first of all, at least 80% at every election.
Be it
I mean,
local,
you have to be local, state, school board, it don't matter. If you want something to happen, you got to be supporting that change.
Now, Leonard, now this takes us right back to what we said about the with the Masters in Augusta. If we were to get to a point where every election, state, like you say, school board, whatever it is, every election we turn out 80% or better, how much fear would that instill in the powers that to be right now?
Well, hopefully it wouldn't take but maybe 2 cycles for them to die off. Because I don't think anyone has really lost 3 cycles in a row. Either party. We pretty much play the musical chair game. We get a good president like the one we have now. That'll only be 8 years. So we have to have somebody come behind him with another 8 years of the same agenda, so on and so forth. That's the point, is to keep a progressive agenda on the table. The moment you go back to Republican leadership, you lose all of your gains as people, as citizens, because they're not, representing or supporting you. They're supporting money. And it's not even a balancing act. There's no moral guideline or ethical principle or anything that these people use to do what they do. They'll disenfranchise thousands of Georgia just so one can make money.
Wow. Somebody told me, good morning, Rico. How you doing this morning, sir? Somebody told me, man, years ago, one of the reasons why they have so many wars or they keep these wars because wars help the economy.
Oh, most definitely. That's how America became great. Because we have the not just the propensity to develop massive amounts of war materials for war. We have the propaganda machine and everything that supports war. Because we have constantly told people that everybody else was bad. So I know a lot of racist whites and a lot of ignorant blacks believe that. Demonizing an entire group of people. You over here hollering about what the white man doing to black people, and then out of your mouth come them filthy Koreans. That darn China man. Look at them Mexicans taking all our jobs. So you sound just like the oppressor then. Then that's why it's so prevalent.
You're speaking this language.
Yes, it's so prevalent. When you get to the point where you elect people who do not want war, who do everything they can to look for more diplomatic resolutions and working with other countries and resolving issues, it's much better for the world. But if the people with the most guns gonna always be funding wars, and there's plenty of people to take that money, we're going to have war. That's how war works. It's the war machine that had made America great.
Wow. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, great rising, man. How y'all doing this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Rico.
You heard about the little situation they got going on right now, where they're saying that they're going to because of this bill that Kemp signed, this voters bill that he signed, they're talking about people are protesting, trying to get the Masters to move out of Augusta. And me and Linda was talking about that earlier. If that were to happen, that's really all Augusta has, and it's going to cripple that city. What do you think about that, Rico?
Well, I can really and truly, I don't really care too much about them losing that tournament, the PGA. You talking about the PGA tournament?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I ain't concerned about them losing that. That voting rights bill is more important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you got to sacrifice some things that you
Right.
enjoy. Some of those recreational things that we enjoy for entertainment. See, athletic, that's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Voting
Yes.
rights bill, that's a life or death situation for a lot of people. Human
Mm-hmm.
issues. So it gets to a point where we have to start really using our gift of discernment logically, putting things in its right proper place. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
should be saying that we want to sacrifice the rights of human beings just for our entertainment, our pleasure, our
Mm-hmm.
pleasure. You know, well, I want the right to be able to go get my. I mean, think about when COVID kicked in. Everybody wanted to open their things back up so they can go get their nails done.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You
Yep.
tell me you willing to say that people should risk their lives so you can go feel good for vanity reasons or for just superficial reasons that make you feel good on the inside. So I mean, I could care less if they lose that tournament. They could look. Last year they didn't have a March Madness. They didn't know if they were gonna have one this year.
Right.
They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have an NBA championship. They had to rearrange. They had to maneuver, move
Mm-hmm.
accordingly. And guess what? They're gonna have to move accordingly. But see, the thing is people gonna have to put their foot down and stand up for things that's important. Learn to separate what's important from what is not as important. Because evidently, those things that were canceled last year wasn't that important. So this tournament, it was canceled last year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Canceled again this year. Golf ain't gonna end.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But let's stick to the issue at hand. Is this man signed that bill and then they violated this black woman's rights for knocking on the door
Mm-hmm.
up when other people went to Michigan with guns talking about they were going to take the governor captive and they ain't
Yeah.
had nothing happen to them and people stormed the Capitol. Like I said, it's time for us to put our foot down, quit talking and start doing some of the same thing because one thing, you can only stop a force with the same force or equal force or more.
Mm-hmm.
And ain't no being nice with these people, man. This system is set up to be such a double standard that the haves are always going to make sure that they keep having. And as long as we keep accepting the double standards and then just saying that's how it is, then we're going to be complaining for generation after generation after generation until we finally have a revolution and change this whole system around because we are like a dog running around chasing his tail right now.
So do you think that because a lot of people say, well, we could be nice, we could be kind, we could be patient with them. Are we at the point in time in history right now where that it's been proven that don't work? First and foremost, it's been proven that method, that ideology does not work. So are we to a place right now where we need to actually step up, like you said, do something to make that difference, take it by force if necessary?
We was at that place when they killed Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. But the thing is, we didn't do nothing. We let them get by. Then they found a way to say, well, you know what? We're going to find a way to get civilians to get jobs to be defense contractors. And now they can put machine shops in their backyards with CNC machines and make their own guns. And then
Mm-hmm.
fooling them black folks ever decide they want to act a fool, we got another level of protection, another shield against those people revolting because we got more people now that are smart enough and war-minded because it's in their nature.
Mm-hmm.
Say that I would rather invest my money to put a house in the back of my shack, a building in the back of my shack, buy a CNC machine, and make a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of what's going on. I know people now that's got defense contracts right here in Alabama, right up the road, little small hit town places making AR-15 for the military. And don't know work there.
Then talk to me, brother. What's on your heart? That's
It's
something else.
well, it's very true, and this is how business works,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how the system works. People, this is what happens when I've heard some comments this past weekend, as a matter of fact, where somebody was talking to me about this whole debate. And I believe that a young black entrepreneur or what have you was on social media or what have you, talking about black people need to focus on economics. Economics ain't gonna matter if you ain't got no power.
That's right.
You can have a gazillion dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But if the people who own the means don't want you involved, you have to build it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you do it, is build it yourself. It's the only way you control it, is build it yourself. So one, there has to be a balance. Balance is politics.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get to a balance with these politicians, they're balancing for themselves. Now you got the true representatives of the people that go in there and say, hey, this bill that you're proposing would completely destroy this particular community. So this is where activists come in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of folks see y'all went to work, y'all was about that money, and the devil still had the power.
Mm-hmm.
So while y'all was working, making money, they was making laws. And now you saw, with all your money, now what? Things still fall apart. What relief did you have from COVID because you had so much money?
Mm.
What would you be without the highway to drive on? See, all these things that government has created, we all have to participate in order to maintain. You got to go back and fix streets once you build them. Let the people in these communities have these jobs that are fixing their streets. It's horrible when you ride down in the Department of Transportation and everybody that get out them trucks is white.
Mm.
That means they have the contracts, the money, and everything. This was a big issue that people, I don't think younger people, for one, understand it. Because, of course, they want $15 an hour.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
remember when y'all wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
When y'all didn't have these, y'all couldn't get any job you wanted to get. You couldn't go to school to get an education, to get the skills, to get a job. And then realize what black professionals had to go through, even though they were black professionals, doctors, lawyers, teachers, and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
treated like second-class citizens because of what? The vote.
Yeah.
Jim Crow only works because the vote allows Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
If you have people in power that support Jim Crow, these are the types of laws that they make. Like Rico said, we talking about gun violence. He just told you about a manufacturer, one of the most popular weapons they talk about on TV. They love to write a story when they can say AK-47.
Yeah.
Remember when AK-47 used to be the weapon of the terrorists?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Oh,
Yes.
the AK-47.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's built right there, like Rico said. They don't even, ain't no black folk even working over there. I don't know why they're not working there. But Rico's from that area. He understands the defense contracts. We know that defense contracts make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
People are not just concerned about making guns for you down the street. They have international customers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they can sit right in your backyard and pay no taxes to help out your community and your area where they're at, make millions and millions of dollars around the world, and then turn around and give it to the Republican Party.
Mm.
That's how government works.
Now, and I'm glad Leonard went there. I'm so glad he went there, man, because we touched on this, I think, at some point last week. Rico, a lot of times people don't track their dollar. And the reason why I say it, because they'll go out there and they'll support certain individuals, not knowing that they're, in essence, that money is going right back to the party, the Republican Party, and those dollars that you're spending is to your own detriment. We got a caller. Hold on, we're coming to you in just 1 second. Go ahead, Rico.
Not only are the dollars that we're spending to our own detriment, some of the causes we support,
Mm-hmm.
we enable, they are to our own detriment. I'm reading that book, Medical Apartheid, now. And there's been a back and forth about Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger.
Mm-hmm.
And truly, you can actually confuse a lot of people with which way you go with this. You got the Republicans that actually rail against Margaret Sanger.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats that go for Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. But in the same sentence, David Duke and racist Ku Klux Klan, they invest in and support Planned Parenthood because it supports holding back black births. So they support anything that, like black people might say the word birth control, and we think that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? But then think about it. A Ku Klux Klanman, he'll think that's a good thing too. a black person not having another black life.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
supporting the same cause that our
Mhm.
support, and we don't even realize it because we aren't thinking mentally. See, this is how confused we are. And this, you know why everybody loves American? It ain't because it's the American way. It's because they think America is a path to easy street.
Mhm. Yeah.
And most of the time, when you think of easy street, things are more convenient. So
Mhm.
to a place where things start getting more convenient, and you only look for that convenience for things to be easy, your mind gets narrow.
Mhm.
So I think America has narrowed our minds to the like when I say the word revolution, some people think they go always talking about picking up guns and trying to start a fight. They're gonna kill him. No, I'm talking about a mental revolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
A mental revolution. Sometimes you have to sit back and analyze what's going on to see, am I actually supporting something that is destructive toward my community because we
Mhm.
are things through properly? I mean, true enough, yeah, we need birth control. We need to control how much we are having birth. We need to control how we are building our families. We need to have more logic in it, but that doesn't mean that we need to sterilize our people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Our history of people being sterilized without their consent, tricked into being sterilized, tested on for birth control procedures that cause cancer. You know, there's so many different issues, and we thought it was
I mm, I know, and we got a couple of calls. I'm going to go to the callers. Callers, mute your line to our call, and you. We got a little background noise. Mute your line for me, callers. I'm going to come to you just in just a second. But to your point, Rico, I remember 10, maybe 15, maybe even 20 years ago when they used to when they put the implant in the women.
damn.
And you know that's and because of the fact that they say it's a form of birth control. You can get this implant and you go out there and just be willy nilly as you want. You ain't got to worry about getting pregnant. I'm like, wow. Do they know?
Shot. They was telling
Huh?
women to get the depot. They was telling women to get the depot shot.
Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah,
depot, you don't have to worry about a period. And then
yeah,
you hear women talking about, girl, I ain't had no period in 4 or 5 months. I'm thinking to myself, ooh, man, you bagged up. I bet it's
yeah,
bad now. You know what I'm saying? But then not on top of that, they were gaining weight.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it was proven way back in the 30s that this thing was a cancer causing carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
And the government, the FDA, still allows people to come back and say, hey, it's cool to use that. And the funny thing is you mainly find black women using these contraceptives.
Exactly, exactly. 443 area code. 443 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from? 443. Unmute your line.
Morning Glow family. How y'all doing? It's Kurt, man. Baltimore, Maryland.
Kurt, what's going on, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm working hard.
Hey, good deal. That's a good thing, brother. That's a good thing. We're talking about a lot of different things, man. And Kurt, I know you're familiar with Augusta. And one of the things we're talking about is because of this bill that Kemp has signed here in Georgia. There's a huge protest going on right now to get the masters out of Augusta. Do you know how if that were to happen, and if they don't do anything different, that's going to cripple that city tremendously because that's all that Augusta has. What do you think about that, Curtis?
Well, I mean, you pay a price when you don't want to change an ideology that is an age-old, poor representation of what the people are. Georgia is not the same Georgia anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and the masters not the same masters anymore. You know, you got several nationalities now, not only playing in the masters but winning.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying that okay, the Augusta thing, you know, the first time Tiger Woods actually won the Masters, there, you know, there was some there was some issues with him even playing there. They didn't even want black folk in the building.
Yeah.
Period. So, you know, if you're gonna stand on your old Confederate ideologies, then you gotta understand that that ideology comes with a consequence. And if that
Mm-hmm.
means you're gonna lose that capital, then that's just a part of the consequence. I mean, we can't keep making excuses for ignorance, man,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't keep making excuses for exploitation. We can't keep making excuses for for fraud and embezzlement. Like, come on, man. Nah. If they can't change their ideology, knowing that, let's say 55% of their players are of another nationality, and according to the club rules, they're not even allowed to even play on the grounds at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need to lose it because the representation is the players. And if the players can't play there, oh, you're gonna bend the rule just be. They remind me of the old Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing.
Mm-hmm.
When they in the restaurant and the white guy tell the dude, oh, them different types of huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So no, if they gonna lose it, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to, we got another caller. Cassandra, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, what do you think about Augusta losing the Masters because of this voters bill that was just passed by Kemp?
I think I'm in line with Kurt and anyone else that said if they are going to live in the past, then they are going to lose. We cannot continue, like he said, to continue to act like, it's okay, or they just don't understand. I don't care if they don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If they don't want the money, then keep on doing what you're doing. Let Kemp and his old boy club, because that's all that is, bunch of white old boys and young white boys making decisions that affect everybody in Georgia, and Georgia is not the same Georgia that they're used to, and that's what's teeing them off so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I say take it away. If you don't want to do right, it needs to leave.
Cassandra, what do you think of the what they were trying to do? And I'm glad you're here because you can actually speak to us from a female standpoint. What they were trying to do, or what they were attempting to do with the NOAA plants and the different thing. What's the other shot you talking about, Rico?
Depo Provera.
Yeah. Those shots. What do you think they were trying to do? Were they targeting us primarily, Cassandra? What do you think about that?
I don't think they were targeting us. I think they were just trying to get women to do better. I mean, and it's a shame that you got to do that you have to take steps. But I think we
come on.
My people need to do better. I'm just being better.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these women are just slut and nasty, and it's disgusting, and they need to stop. You got all of these babies. Ain't nobody taking care of the babies other than the state. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm very upset with the way Black women do when it comes to having children. Mm-hmm. Because you got 4 or 5 kids for 4 or 5 different daddies. Ain't nobody doing nothing but the state. What the heck? Mm-hmm. And then you still laying there every time one of the babies get to school age where you might have to go to work. You have another baby. Come on now. No, mm-hmm. I ain't with that. So there needs to be forms of birth control. I don't particularly didn't like the implant one because a lot of women had problems with it, Black and white women, because I was big on that at the time, Black and white women. But we just need to do better as women, especially Black women.
See?
We're the poorest group, and we're pumping out the most babies. What the hell?
Exactly. Cassandra, now you know you're gonna make a lot of these sisters mad with what you're saying, but I love your stand. I know you don't.
Yeah, I don't care. They know I don't care. I tell you to your face. You need to do better. I told women that with 5 and 6 babies, and they're in their 20s. They're not even in their 30s yet.
Yeah.
And ain't got no husband and no prospect for husband. Do better. Get mad at me. I don't care.
Oh yeah, look. It sounds like you fired up this morning, sis. Yeah, I love it. Mute your line. I'm gonna come back to you in just 1 second. Mute your line, Rico. What's on your heart, brother?
She's telling the whole truth. She told us the truth right there. And we gotta take some accountability. But this sort of gonna go back to something I wanted to say earlier. Every behavior and action that we see is a result of a behavior that preceded that. It became normal and acceptable. So you have to sit back and say to yourself, okay, when, why, and how did this type of behavior become normal, where women would have more than one child by more than one man, or have one child that was confusion about who the fatherhood was. Now that might be newer, but I'm gonna tell you what I found out. Man, it's crazy how sometimes things come full circle. And reading this stuff about how the racist organization and eugenicists supported Planned Parenthood and birth control, and how they Black people by using it, I also found out that this behavior has happened before. I thought like something new that we were seeing. But in the past, Black women went through this once before, and it was a problem. They addressed it. So that is why birth control came about in the beginning. Time ago. So when this first started, it was because women were out here just having babies. They said we were hypersex, and they really weren't trying to control us in that aspect, because they thought we couldn't help it. They thought we were less mentally, all the way around, intellectually just incapable. Just, like I said, oversex. But in the reading that, I started understanding that that was an atmosphere that preceded that behavior that made the new generations that came after that certain situations believe that was the way it was supposed to go. So I started thinking, what could have happened? And what happened was people couldn't get married that looked like us. Sometimes when they had children with somebody they loved, that person they had that child with was sold, and that child was sold. We got to remember our history. See, sometimes we forget that everything in history impacted everybody's lives at that point in time. So when you come up in a situation or in an era where people would take your babies and sell it, or take the person that you love and sell them somewhere clean across the United States that you don't know of, and then you got to get with another man, or you got to breed with this man because he's big and y'all might have big babies, sooner or later you're going to start saying that's the way it is. That's the way things go. And so now we've been brainwashed into not caring as much about our reproductive system, because we were told our reproductive system wasn't worth anything. So we have taken on this ideology and this belief that sex is just an action. And the result is a 50-50 chance, instead of knowing that this action, you shouldn't be doing this action without trying to get this result. I said, like I said, when you come into a place where you have to take on somebody else's culture and ideology, and then they can control how you function, sooner or later, how you function is going to be the way they intended for you to function. Now their way of fixing it is saying they can control themselves. Let's come up with birth control, but let's make sure that it's experimental. Or so, well, yeah, let's get at to them. So I mean, it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword. We do need to control that, but I don't think we need to trust the American way or their assistance in making sure that we need to get ourselves together morally. Like I said, I think all in all, in general, Black people spend about 0.5% of their day on important issues such as voting, social issues, things that involve their community. I really do believe, as a whole, it might be about 0.5% of our time that we spend addressing those or paying attention to those issues.
Just stuff that's important.
Yeah, just stuff.
Stuff that's important.
To be honest with you, we should spend maybe 30 to 40%. I'm gonna say at least 30% of our day being aware of what's going on around us. If it's watching the news, reading the newspaper, having conversations with people about important issues, instead of what happened on the soap opera with the haves and have-not last night.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So we got to be better informed and know what happened before we came around, to understand why the things are the way they are now, why we are here.
Good deal. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I'm a very conservative socialist individual. So basically, I operate on a couple of different principles. And the first principle is value for everyone else's life around me. That's a completely non-religious, if you can do that, anyone can do that, is be concerned about the people around you. There's an African proverb: beware of the crow that's eating your neighbor's corn today. And this is the concept, because that same crow could be eating your corn tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So we have to understand, may not agree with you on everything, but I will agree with anyone to defeat my enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I will go against anyone that is trying to make it so much harder for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if I wasn't a religious guy, that just makes sense to me,
Mm-hmm.
to treat others how I want to be treated. I don't, there are some people that are truly wicked and they don't care anything about harming other people, which is why they do what they do, which is why I'm never shocked. I love dogs. I don't expect a dog to be a human being.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, because he's a dog. And because one, he'll never expect you to be a dog.
Mm-hmm.
That dog knows who you are, knows your place, and where and who's in charge. And that's just a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you understand that? If a dog has that much sense, why don't you?
Leonard, I'm gonna say this, man, and somebody said this. I think it was last week. Somebody said this. I'm gonna mirror what they said. A lot of times, animals, dogs, take care of their puppies better than women take care of their children.
Well, I mean, that's so nice. Come on, Raheem.
It's true.
But yeah, it can be true. It can be. It can be.
I say in some cases. Now, don't miss the part where I say in some cases.
Yeah. But
because
I don't like to say things to really. I don't know what to say. I don't say those types of things to just try to negate another person's struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, I can be nasty about it, but I'm more trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just like to talk about things.
Mm-hmm. I understand what you're saying, but like I say, and that goes to what Cassandra was a little bit.
Yes.
What Cassandra was saying earlier.
Oh, that's my soldier right there. Like I told her to tell you, anybody, when it comes to this activist, I'll follow Cassandra before I'll follow a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cassandra has that passion for what she's doing. It's about right or wrong. And she,
mm-hmm.
She's very, like I say, very caring.
Mm-hmm.
I can learn a lot from her when it comes to that. Because me, I'm going to just go in and take care of business type of person.
Mm-hmm. Watch this. Oh, Cassandra. Oh, Cassandra.
But Cassandra ministers to people's hearts as well. So I think that's what makes her so appealing, because it's not, I don't know what that is in the back. Do you hear it? I think when Badger came on or somebody.
No, Cassandra, she's driving. You probably just unmuted.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Say something.
But that's what it's about, man. It's about really caring about things and really wanting to change them, not just sitting around talking about them. I miss the barbershop.
Oh, yes,
I don't go to the barbershop as much because now I do cut my own hair and everything. But it was good to reach out to, because you meet a lot of politicians at the barbershop.
Yep.
You like people from all aspects of business in the barbershop. Rich men, poor men, guys in between, students, young, old, several generations of brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you really get to learn about people in that environment. And yes, we're coming all to do one thing at that time, is to get a haircut. And this is where we talk about these issues. So when you see people in a church and things like that, why politicians go to church? Because that's where we congregate. If you congregated in the park every Saturday, that's what they would be. They would be wherever you are, because they're trying to get your vote. So we have to develop a better relationship with those that lead us, and not be looking at it as just somebody doing the job. No, it's not just a job. They got elected to do something specifically for other people.
Absolutely.
So you got to hold them accountable.
Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, you wanted to say something?
No. I'm so, right now it's so much going on when it comes to the Black community. Let me put it like that. For the Black community, And we are being attacked on so many fronts at one time. But this is the thing. This is why we have to step up, stop acting sorry, because I really feel like I don't want white people fighting harder for me than I'm fighting for myself.
Come on, Cassandra.
And I feel like I'm serious.
That's
I feel
right.
like that's what's happening.
Yes.
When I go to these protests, what the heck? It's more white people out there than black people. What the heck? And they fighting for something that got to do with us. What's wrong with us? Who do you think is supposed to be the change for your community? You! You! You worried about getting your hair done, getting your nails done. You worried about hanging out at the basketball court and people trying to take your rights to vote and everything else away. What the heck? We got to do better. We got to do better, y'all. I'm telling you, stuff about to hit the fan. And if we don't stand up for ourselves, we're going to be back in Jim Crow, whether you like it or not.
Wow. Mute your line there for me, Cassandra. There we go. I'm going to go to Curtis, and then we got Badger with us as well. Curtis, what's on your heart? Unmute, Curtis. Oh, we lost Curtis. Okay, we just lost him. Badger, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm pretty good. I'm listening.
Okay, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Oh, what's the topic everyone's talking about?
Well, we started out talking about Augusta. Well, here in Georgia, they actually passed a bill, a voters bill that's going to trying to suppress certain individuals' right to vote, and Augusta is a big push right now. Augusta has the Masters. You know about the Masters. They're trying to pull the Masters out of Augusta, and if they do that, that's going to cripple Augusta tremendously because that's the main source of income for that city and that area. What do you think about that?
Wow. Sounds like people need to get together and start getting their voice heard instead of just yapping and worrying about honestly non-important things like Cassandra was saying, makeup and getting the hair done and all that stuff. Because eventually, no matter how much they're trying to look, good for the general public or whatever the world's going through their head, they're not. It ain't gonna mean anything if they lose their rights to be able to even speak.
Exactly.
Rico, tell you something came up to me, Raheem, before you go to Rico. You know what is a great movie that sort of speaks to the situation, I think, for the black community, is if you go back and watch that one movie, Get on the Bus.
Yes.
And if you look at was that Spike? That was Spike, right? Get on the Bus.
Yeah, I think that was Spike. Yeah.
The themes of Get on the Bus. Yeah, we're going for a mighty move from a mighty man that wanted to bring the African community together. They were going to the Million Man March.
Yes.
Get on the bus meant really, yes, we different, but let's get on this bus to take care of this business. Let's get on this bus to celebrate what's important to us. Despite all the issues we have with being fathers, businessmen, LGBTQ, whatever it may be, let's get on this bus to go to this place to take care of this business.
Come on.
We can play later, but this bus has a purpose. It's going a certain place, and there's something to do. We get an action plan. So your act, like Rico said, all this love and unite and romance, and we have a great culture of Black power. The images and everything associated with it, the great speakers and everything. What you gonna do today?
Yeah.
What you gonna do? It's Monday, March 29th, 2021. Guess who ain't here? Malcolm, Mark Garvey, King, Evers. We ain't even got the people closest to it. Lewis not here no more. Remember, Lewis was a champion. A champion here. It's a possibility if John Lewis was alive today that this bill would not have passed in Georgia.
Yeah, would not have.
Because, so don't ever devalue our soldiers this way. Remember
That's
how
right.
all that stuff?
Right.
Because that man stood in the way till he couldn't. Death had to come get him from him to stop doing it. And we talking about a brother that went from the bridge all the way to the dome. So don't get it twisted that somebody ain't doing it, but that you got all the answers, because you don't. There's other people with different styles of living and things like that, and we all black. So we ain't got to work on being black. We got to work on these issues. It's these issues that are happening today that we need to work on, not be caught up in romance by our past.
Yeah.
That's keeping us impotent today. And that's what really, when you get too romantic about your past, for lack of a better term, if it don't get hard no more, don't even worry about it.
Lord, my Jesus. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, some people can romanticize the past too much, and it starts sounding like maybe a myth or just a story, fairy tale. They don't understand that past, they're living the result of that past now. So that fight got to keep going, or you might end up back in that situation. Leonard said something earlier too. I know I always say that same thing, man. I consider myself a conservative, but it ain't no place in today's conservative party for a conservative black man. Not really. Now, those conservative black men that are in that party, they completely delusional. It ain't nowhere in the world that they ought to be over there in that Republican Party. But it's a hard place, not only for a conservative black man, but for a conservative black woman to actually be comfortable in that situation. You know, but what I would consider a conservative black person is that person I was saying that would spend a good bit of their time a day being concerned and making efforts to participate in activism, politics, social things that's going on. And I mean, it's important that we get down to being involved in those things. I see people put a lot of, in which they, people make the choice to do what they want to do. But a lot of people that are complaining are the ones that want to spend the least amount of time addressing it. They only want to address it when it becomes a main topic, a main issue. They don't pay attention to the things that's leading up to the issue. So it's aggravating, because sometimes you can hear them comment, or you can have a conversation with them, and then you realize they're way off base. They'll start saying stuff to let you know what, they don't know about this. They don't know what they're talking about. And so that's just what they call an awakening. It's not always about being conscious of this and that. It's about waking up. And sometimes you got to hit people upside the head real hard. Now, that statement that Raheem made, that came from me, because that's a statement I've been making for like 20 years. And it's a statement I made because I've seen that. It wasn't to demean sisters, but what I see, I can't deny what I see. And if I've seen situations where women have treated their children or did a better or worse job of taking care of their children and protecting their children than dogs have, and I recognize that, I made the statement. And that should be used as a sense of urgency. Some people might look at that and say, that's extreme, that's extreme. Well, guess what? Our situation is extreme. We got generations of children running around here now, don't know which way is up. And then we asking why. Part of us being humans are having compassion for our neighbors. Like, Linda said that earlier. And it ain't hard to be a human and have compassion for each other. And in the process of that, you're going to observe some children being neglected. Some children having to eat cereal with water. Some children wearing clothes the same clothes for 4 or 5 days in a row, while the mom out here living her life, chasing men or whatever, or the father. So like I said, y'all, I have seen dogs take better care of their children than some women have in these days.
Or men.
That's an emergency. I hope wake-up call to some to actually think about what I'm saying, because guess what? Everybody has seen that child walk out in that street naked or lost, and didn't nobody know where it came from. And guess what? That child probably didn't have the same protection as some of these puppies right here running around. That the mom making sure it don't run out in the street. You know how many times I done seen children out there in the middle of the road and then nobody know who the child belonged to?
Yeah,
That's a true
exactly.
statement. I mean, so it's extreme, but we are in extreme time. And if it takes me making extreme statements to make that that true observation, then somebody need to realize that's how important it is. We need to pay attention to all these children that are vulnerable to parents that are neglectful.
Good deal. Absolutely true. Absolutely truth. Badger, what do you say to that, man? Some animals take care of their kids more than better than some parents.
Better than parents? Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Men are most of the time worse than the females about it. At least in my opinion, anyway.
Well, I said parents, so I'm covering both of them. What do you think about that, though? The concept?
Oh, yeah. You know, part of the teachings, that was passed down to me, you observe the animals and nature and everything around us, and they can teach us a lot of lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that thought process got condemned to be paganistic and evil and of Satan. So most people have forgotten those teachings. So now they just run around, they're acting like fools, and most of them are either misled or honestly don't have no idea what they should be doing. There's a lot of teachings that haven't got passed on due to corruption.
That's good. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Cassandra?
I'm here. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was trying to get off of mute.
Okay.
Let me tell you what my day is looking like. Okay, I've been out. I had to be somewhere early this morning for a project. And so I'm heading home to get some breakfast and change clothes and go down to the state capitol with a sign about 1946, which was when blacks were first allowed to vote in the Georgia Democratic primary, and how that governor suppressed black voting through all of these different killings, intimidation, all kinds of stuff that he did. And on my sign, it says 1946 suppression, Governor Eugene Talmadge. 2021 suppression, Governor Brian Kemp. And things have really not changed, is basically what I'm saying. And it hasn't changed. And if we think that what is happening right now with these new rules is anything but a racist move on behalf of this governor, first of all, I don't care what nobody said. He stole that election he won.
Come on.
They stole that. When you take over almost 1 million votes, you took almost 1 million people out of circulation for that election. And most of those were people of color that were voting for Stacey Abrams. You stole that election. You want to talk about a steal? That was a steal, and everybody knew it. And that's what put Stacey Abrams on the battlefield fighting to get people registered. And that is what we have to do now. Even though this bill has passed, it is incumbent upon all of us, every single person that believes that the rights of every individual in this country is to be able to vote. We all need to be standing and making a noise. Let your voice be heard. And that's what I'm going to do. In a couple of hours, I will be back at the state capitol. I was there a couple of times last week, back at the state capitol, making my voice heard, regardless. Regardless. It may just be one voice, but they're going to know that I'm there.
So
one voice could be a very mighty voice. And so, like I say, you're using and you're utilizing it in the right way. So I want to tell you, for myself and anybody that's close or tied in with me at all, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you. I just want to say that. I want to also do this right here. Pat Fox. Pat Fox. I want to say thank you for joining us. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you and good morning from France. They say good morning from France. So they actually call in from France. So bonjour. Bonjour. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, grand rising from America, Pat.
Yes.
That's why it's important for us to understand our history. Like Leonard said, don't get stuck in it and romanticize about it like it's all over with. Because like with anything that exists right now, this is what we're seeing as an evolution of something that happened in the past. So voters' oppression, it didn't stop. Those people didn't die out that felt like they wanted to keep control and keep certain people from voting and certain people from having rights. They made sure that it evolved. And I said earlier about David Duke and all these other racist eugenicists that supports Planned Parenthood. Well, it's happening today. They use that same double standard because you got black people supporting Planned Parenthood too. So how funny is that to have two people in the same bed that's totally against each other?
Exactly.
All right. So now let's look at this situation with the voting rights bill. They're using legitimate excuses to move their agenda forward. They're saying, well, you know what? This is just a way to make sure that the system, the process doesn't get tainted or manipulated. So we won't vote ID laws, so won't nobody manipulate the system and vote that's not supposed to vote. You know, they come up with different reasons on why they should try to do this to prevent injustice, when really and truly they're trying to create the biggest injustice, which is once again oppress black people from voting that you don't want to vote. They didn't commit a crime, so you can't take the voting right from them. They didn't get a domestic violence. I mean, there's so many different things that they didn't do so you could take their vote their right away. And on top of it, they are paying attention. They're active. They make an effort. And you don't want that from us. I mean, and like I said, on our part, it's our job to pass down to generations to come that this voting right has not always been here. This is something that they don't want you to do. When you in that barbershop, you know what I'm saying? I go to the barbershop sometimes and I get aggravated, along with other politicians in the barbershop arguing with people that's telling us it's a waste of time to vote. Man, I got called a Sambo. And that we should show up to vote just so somebody could be right and prove their point. And in the barbershop that day that I was called a Sambo for saying that I was going to vote or that we should vote, the majority of the barbershop agreed and laughed. People that look at us agreed with that dysfunction and that ignorance. Didn't understand. And so when I saw, I'm like, you know what, man, just to make themselves feel good for number one, probably not knowing about how the political process works, being ashamed of not being involved, they would rather other people say that they don't get involved for such and such reason too, so they don't feel so bad about not being a participant. Really killing them. So what they'll do, all these people jumped on the same bandwagon and say, you know what, you sound like a fool.
Exactly. Watch this, Curtis. Good morning. Good to have you back with us, Curtis. What is the mirror? Let me say it this way. What is the mirror? With what they're trying to do today and what they tried to do back in the 60s with this voter suppression? What is the difference? 50s and the 60s. What is the difference, or what is the mirror?
It ain't no different. It's the same playbook. It's the same exact playbook. The only difference, if you was to point out one, is the terminologies and the methodology for which they administer the play. For a lot of football fans, I could call a 81 hot route Y skinny, right? I could run that 81 hot route Y skinny. I could run that from a pro set. I could run it from a single set. I could run it from any variation of the actual formation of the play, but the play itself does not change. You understand? The only thing that changes that play, speaking football terminology, the only thing that changes that play is possibly what the defense showed me. Now, if the defense come out and show me that they playing a press man, I probably won't have to change it because I know that Y is faster than that guy that's pressed on him. So guess what? He's going to beat him every time. But if they plan a prevent or something like that, then I know, okay, I got to look for these 3 lanes, find that gap, and then change this play. So as black folk, I guess what I can say as minority folk, let me put it like that, because you know what I mean? Like it's poor black folk and it's poor white folk, and they getting jabbed. We getting jabbed by it. We talk about the poor. We don't even talk about the working poor getting jabbed by the day. But I think a good thing for us to do at some point is to stop showing our playbook too early. There ain't nothing changed, man. Just the terminologies and the methodology for which they administer this hateful, bigoted form of government. All they doing is just changing the terminologies, Ryan. That's all, and the methodology for which it's released.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, can I back Curtis up right quick on that? Because I love what he said then. The way I see that, Nick will probably clear it up a little bit better. The plays change too. The plays change, but the goal is the same. The goal is to score or to keep the other team from scoring. And right about now, they're trying to keep us from scoring, but they want to keep scoring. So the plays keep changing. Now they ain't in the running game no more. They're in the run and shoot. The plays, everything keep changing, even the calling and the signals. But they still got the goal to score the touchdown. So even though football has evolved and everybody runs all these different offenses, the same object of the game is to outscore your opponent.
Yeah.
Here they disguise it in different manners now, use different terminology. So that was awesome what Curtis said. The only difference I had with that is the fact that the plays changed too. The plays they were disguised and meant to come out different way, but it's still meant to score and then keep you from scoring.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Badger, talk to me. Leonard, coming to you next.
Psychological warfare. You know, the things that they've done to be able to, under the radar, pass certain laws, restrictions, things like that. And then all of a sudden seemed like they were taking them away, yet there's still issues. Most of the intelligent people have picked it, noticed it, and, you know, been voicing things. But I do feel that there's a lot of people that either are choosing to stay ignorant or that phrase, ignorance is bliss, I guess. Or they honestly think that they don't have a voice. And to me, all of that stuff is psychological warfare. There's ways to get our voices heard and to be able to get things done. And no matter how many times you get that information out there, there's just a lot of people that they're either too busy with having to work and be able to take care of their family, or there's a list of excuses that people give. But they want to gripe and complain and everything else.
Hey, Badger, why your video not up today, brother?
We've already talked about that.
Oh Lord, look, he said it and then he turned his mic off. Lord, my Jesus, I'm gonna get on Badger later. Let me go to Cassandra. No, I said I'm gonna go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I was just listening to Badger, but man, it's just funny that you were talking about this. You know, what was the topic today, Raheem?
Well, we hadn't got to the topic today.
I was just going to say, am I not watching my clock enough?
No, we good. We're gonna get to it in a little bit, man. This is flowing so good, man. And like I said, I think this is educating people. We got our friend over in France just commented too. She said, "I hope all races will without colors."
And you know, that's a great sentiment. We just need more people to have it. We see the people that are not. It's so clear. It's not a secret. No one's doing anything underhanded. They're just outwardly wicked. They show you what the bill is about. They tell you what they're trying to do. What is it going to? It's like I say, some people love a master. You understand what I'm saying? Me, I'm not leading with the woe is the Negro. I don't do that. Because the majority of African Americans are doing just fine in America. There's a small segment of our population that we send to direct all of our sentiments towards. So what this does is it makes you look a lot more trifling than you really are. And it's great for sensationalism. But I'm no more concerned about the next black person's personal choices as I am with a white person's personal choices. Because that's what I'm about. You having the option without hindrance to choose what it is you want to do. Whether you make bad choices or not. Like, say, for instance, they trying to kill us. Well, it ain't been working. Because I mean, look at you. Ain't nobody having more babies than black women. White folks do need planting. White folks are the one that really need it, because the white people didn't care nothing about you this way. You know what I'm saying? They cared about them secrets they was trying to keep. They daughters been getting abortions. You understand what I'm saying? So when somebody say they came up with it to kill black people, well, you know what? It didn't work.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. So yes, we have a lot of people in trouble, but the majority of people are in the trouble for other reasons far more complex.
Exactly.
Than the fact that they are black.
Phone line, mute your line. We got some feedback coming back from y'all. Everybody's on the phone. Mute your line.
Hey, Rodney.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I gotta go back to work. I just wanted to interject and say, you know what, both of the brothers are dead on point, and Leonard just really talked about something that we don't talk about, and I'd like to plant that seed so that we can think about it. We never hear a conversation about the working poor. Why is that? You always hear about the super wealthy or the ultra wealthy, the super poor, the ultra poor, but you never hear about the working poor.
No.
So I want to ask the question, why is that, man? I got to go back to work. I love y'all, man. Y'all be good, man.
Hey, love you as well, brother.
Thanks a lot for getting my son that shot right here, and I really appreciate that.
Hey, not a problem, brother. Not a problem. I definitely appreciate having him here, man. We're gonna do it again too. We're gonna do it again.
All right, brother. Holla at y'all later.
Appreciate you. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis?
I appreciate the conversation that we're having. I really believe that us having the opportunity to share our perspectives and even information is what is going to help bring about change. If just one person's mind is changed by something that they hear, or they're encouraged to do better by something that Leonard says, or something that Badger says, Kurt, Rico, we all have a great, I think we all come from great perspectives, and we come from diversity as far as where we are. Some of us are working poor, some of us may have a little bit more than, we're middle class or whatever, but we all can come together and find a common ground that we can sink our teeth into and say, this is important to all of us. It doesn't matter where we live. It doesn't matter what we drive. This particular situation is important to all of us. And one of those things that I think right now is important to all of us, that's Badger, that's Rico, that's Leonard, is this voting thing is because if it affects us as Black people, it's going to affect everybody in the end. Everybody will be affected by the things that happen to us in this country. I promise you that.
Exactly. Go ahead, Rico.
I got to look at y'all voters' rights bill that he just signed, because the bill that y'all are going through that he just signed, if I ain't mistaken, it may be close to identical to the one that we've already been going through for like the last 10 years. If not the same, it's very close. They
Yes, it is.
have voter ID laws, and for some reason, the state of Alabama is like always a test state. They'll try stuff here and then try to move around and maneuver around the rest of the United States and do the same thing from state to state. And I believe Georgia's the same way. You know, Mississippi, they have certain things that they'll try it out, and once it gets implemented and they see that it can get by the people, other states will pick it up. So this voters ID thing and the restrictions that they're doing, it's already been in practice in other states. Now they're trying to see if it's going to work in Georgia, but I think Georgia's going to put their foot down and make it a little harder than all the other states. But this topic, you know, like I said, once again, it really shows how we need to pay attention to the evolution of the agendas of people. But, you know, going along with what Leonard said, you know, we got to stay adamant. We got to keep making efforts. We got to stay positive. Remember that it can be better. You know, we just can't dwell in the past and dwell on the negative. One time, some of the biggest medical scholars and the most highest praised doctors in the United States said that Black people would be extinct by the year 2000.
Praise.
Yeah. Some of us made it on accident, but we still here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when you hear the phrase, keep looking toward the future, because the opportunity is there, you definitely got to keep doing that. Don't give up. Don't just say, well, that's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. And we got to accept it. No, you ain't got to accept nothing, because if we was accepting anything, we would be extinct over here in America. But we are. So understand that all of us have the will or the ability to fight and to make efforts. It's just a matter of what are we putting our efforts towards.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. We it's right at 9 o'clock, so we got to go ahead and jump on our topic for the day. We're gonna jump on our topic, and as a matter of fact, without knowing, we kind of touched on it a little bit a couple of times. But we're gonna go ahead and put the topic out there, and I want to let me say goodbye to my friend. God bless. Okay, there go my friend again. Pat, let me see, make sure I got the name right. Pat Fox says, God bless France and America first. God bless. God bless you. Definitely appreciate you. And come on back and visit us. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on the same platform that you're looking on right now. I think you're on you're looking at it from Twitch TV. So yeah, we'll be on there every day, Monday through Friday, from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. So make sure you come back, and we definitely appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And we love France too. We love y'all as well. The topic of the day is this: does the word family still have value? Does the word family still have value? What do you say to that?
It's always going to have value. I mean, we just can't, you know, take the meaning of the word and say it has less value or change the meaning. You know what I'm saying? Family is going to mean family. It meant family in the past, and it's going to mean family till the lights go out on this planet. But we value family as much. Some people don't. Some people's understanding or definition of family is different. You know, some people, they will sacrifice, or they may support other family members in certain ways that others won't. Some things that some lines you shouldn't cross as family members, but people will do it. I see it all the time. I mean, like right now, I got family members, close relatives, that they better not come in my presence. Not because of things that I did, but things that they did that let me know that they don't understand. Well, they cross lines that you shouldn't cross as family. They don't do the same things that I value. And me knowing after all these years that they ain't gonna never get that, I have to separate myself from these people, because my idea of family is totally different. There's certain lines you just will not cross. Certain things you will not do. Certain places you won't go. But you know, looking in today's time, I could say I don't think people value the meaning of family the way they should, but the value in the word is still the same.
Good deal. Good deal. Cassandra, what do you say to that? Does the word family still have value?
Yeah, I agree with Rico. It'll always have value, but what is that value to people nowadays compared to what it used to be? It is so different. It is so different. I mean, it used to be that your neighbors were your family.
Yeah.
Everybody looked out for and we've talked about this before. You did something wrong, Mercedes next door or down the street would whip your behind. Call your mama. When your mama got home, she whip your behind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different now. It's different. We don't look out for each other. This is just, I'm just saying from what I've experienced and what I've seen. We do not look out for each other the way we used to, especially the bougie Negroes.
Mm.
Bougie Negroes don't even go in the hood no more. I ain't saying you got to go live in the hood, because if you want to live in Forsyth County where they don't even want your behind out there, even today, you can go ahead and live in Forsyth County.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget where you came from and try to make a difference in the lives of those that are still there, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
If you can.
Yeah.
So, family is different. Family will always be here, but the meaning of family for a lot of people has changed.
Gotcha. Good deal. Good deal. Got a call from the 816 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
KC Finest, Kansas City.
K, that K with an E?
All day.
There you go. Can I ask you the question, does the word family still have value? Okay, what do you say to that?
To some people,
Mm-hmm.
to some people, the word family have value. To some people, it has so much value that they have family members that they're more faithful to. My son called them friendly family members
Mm-hmm.
because they're friends. And some people are better to their friendly family members than they are to their family.
Wow.
That's what we call them. And I was like, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes even the Bible tells you that he'll replace some of those family members. Sometimes they have to be replaced.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Badger, what do you say to that?
And just because they're family doesn't mean they're going to treat you right.
You got that right. You got that right. Badger, does the word family still have value?
I guess that depends on your family.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes friends become family more so than your blood family is. So I think a lot of it boils down to personal perception and experience. I don't have words right now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Leonard, what do you say to that, Leonard? Does the word family still have value?
Most definitely. That's why people keep making their own. You don't get to choose your blood relatives.
Yeah.
They're just family by nature.
Mm-hmm.
However, everybody's now making their own version of family.
Mm-hmm.
Gangs are families. A group of prostitutes could be a family.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on what you share. What's common? There's some people, the only thing I got in common with them is this fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
So we're a family to that extent, to whatever we want it to be. See, your family, I love my family.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I was raised in a good family. But I can't use that to make me think that I'm better than other people. Because as you go around, you'll find out once you leave home, you go build another family. Family is very important. If I can look and find out your family, I can probably tell a lot about you.
Yeah.
And why you act the way you act.
Mm-hmm.
Based on your family definition.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother. I think Rico
might actually be stuck. Yeah, that's the first time I don't see Rico stuck.
Yeah, I ain't seen Rico froze. He froze.
Right, I'm sitting here waiting on him to say something.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. This Wi-Fi playing with me, man. We got some interruptions, man. I don't know what's going on.
Rico like this. Rico, you like this here. Rico, you like this.
Man. Yeah, man, that's that's a big observation, man. It's funny Leonard said that because I was going to hit that on the head right now, man. I was thinking about Charles Manson. He created a family.
Mm-hmm.
The gangs, the Crips and Blood, those people, they don't have the some are actually influenced through their blood family members and go into gang behavior. But some get into gang behavior for that family feel, that protection, that direction, that camaraderie, just the unity. Because like I said, some people are raised by women or parents that were worse than dogs. And so they out here looking and they grab on to somebody or something. They feel a part of something.
Is Lennon over there doing a dog sound? Is Lennon over there doing a dog sound, man?
So, when they're trying to grab on, you're trying to be a part of a community, the community family, like Cassandra was saying earlier. In the past, your neighbors could whoop you. Now you can't depend on that because you don't have the integrity of the neighbors that you used to. People aren't as honorable as they used to be. Now you got people that whoop you because they was letting their child bully your child, but your child whooped their child. So now all of a sudden they're gonna whoop your child.
Mm-hmm.
Because your child was too tough to take that whooping that they was sitting there hoping that their child was gonna put on yours.
Yeah.
You can't trust the neighbor or the person across the street. You can't trust the uncle or the grandparent no more because they might be touching on them. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it happened in the past. But in the past, when that went on and it was suspicious activities going on, you had neighbors that stuck their nose in your business because they didn't just worry about somebody doing their child wrong. They worried about somebody doing all these children wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so they were going to make sure that you wasn't next door messing to such and such child or bullying on such and such child because that could be my child that you're doing that to if I ain't around.
Yep.
Village, that family. So yeah, it's still there. It's just some people's identity or idea of it is off base because they maybe only associate family with blood.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Cassandra, now how much we're talking about family, and does the word family still have value? How much love is should be? How much should love be the ingredient or the key ingredient in this thing called family? And does it exist?
We know that love has to, if love isn't there, I don't know how the meaning of family can be real if love isn't involved in it. I mean real family. I'm talking about people that like will ride and die with you. That type of family. And I've said this before. I joined a gang. I was the youngest member that ever joined that gang. I was 11 years old. I was the youngest one they'd ever let in. And the only reason I joined that gang was because I was being mistreated at home. I was being beaten and literally emotionally tormented. And those women that I hung around, girls actually, because we were all girls and young girls, the girls that hung out, they made me feel like I was a part of something. They would stand up for me. Nobody could do anything to me. Nobody could do anything to any of them without all of us being involved. So, that spoke family to me. It wasn't good, but it made me feel like I belonged to somebody, like somebody cared about what happened to me. And I think that's what happens with a lot of our young people today. These gangs have become their family because they're missing something.
Yeah. And that's very unfortunate that in this day and time they have to know or feel as though they're missing something because they're not getting it from their quote unquote real family. So they have to go out there and find a substitute to fill that void that they're not getting at home. That's so unfortunate. Got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. Toy with the T. Hello.
What's up, Dangster? That's a Soul Train Dangster.
What's up? Okay.
Toya, we're asking the question: does the word family still have value? Does the word family still have value? Toya, what do you say to that?
Well, everything got value, honey, but it just depends family got value, but it just might not be the way you want it to be. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's why, I'm grateful because God knew that humans were fickle creatures, and He's our Father. He's
Mm-hmm.
adopting us. You know what I'm saying? So when
Mm-hmm.
your mother and your father don't act like your mother and your father, then you got an ultimate father. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So family, it still has the same meaning. It's the humans that we have to worry about. So no, there are people who are going to be in our families who are may not just be for us, right? And they got every God given right to be like that. The same way I have every God given right to not be around them, not deal with them, and not even give in to them because everybody wants to say Christianity, just thing that just make you just fall over for your oppressors. But I beg to differ. God set limits too. And after you start trying to do the best and be the best that God wants you to do, you don't have to keep running back trying to get them to forgive you or accept you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So family still got a meaning, but it's the humans that drive it all the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how have we, and I say we, I'm talking collectively everybody, gotten off the mark in regards to family? How do we get off the mark?
Selfishness, being selfishness,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing God's word for sure. That's just all it. That's all it could be, is being selfishness and not knowing God's word
Mm-hmm.
and having that jealous heart. A jealous
Mm.
heart will ruin a relationship every time. Family, couples can't be jealous of one another,
Yeah.
envy one another.
Mm. Wow. Now let me ask you this, Kay, and I know your heart, and I know where you are with this. But how important is it that God is a part of this unit called family?
Very, it's very important to
Mm-hmm.
not even ever leave him out. He created the family.
Mm-hmm.
So when you leave him out of something he created, that's like turning some stuff into mess. Your blessings just left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It Badger, is there in some and I say in some situations have family been so divided that it's gonna be almost impossible to bring them back together again?
That's once again going to be down to people's choices and
Mm-hmm.
personal opinions, because there are a lot of us that know there's a lot of us that know family is way more important than money,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, to me, is going to play a huge factor, because and people are always going to search out what they, because almost everyone feels this thing on the inside of them where they don't want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
They have this feeling of being around some kind of people, and a lot of times it causes them to be around the wrong types of people. Because there's just internal thing about us needing a community or a family,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really talked about a whole lot, and a lot of people don't even know what it is anymore, or why they keep going to the wrong people and stuff. That's why, like, yeah, I had a pretty messed up family growing up, yet I have a beautiful wife and kids now. I have some of y'all crazy folks.
We are crazy too, brother. We are crazy.
um so it it's only bad if you look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of laws and regulations and all kinds of stuff that sometimes make some things difficult if we let it.
Mm-hmm.
What it boils down to, positive attitude, being thankful for what you do have instead of griping and complaining about what you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to be positive and appreciate what you have and learning if it's good or bad for you is to me, a huge factor of family. Because and also not, and goodness gracious, don't forget about, creation that's all around us and creator that created it all, including us. We're all one.
Absolutely. That's good. We got another caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Oh, let me see. I think we lost the caller. I'm gonna get him right back right now. 3, 2, 1. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I tried to press the mute button, and there's a little red button underneath it.
Oh, you hit the wrong one. Donald Toussaint. Tell everybody where you hailing from, brother. What's the name of that fancy city you from?
Pastor
Hey, Donald.
Gula. Yes, ma'am.
You know what? That red button hangs up the phone.
It did. Well, that red button works very well. Because I heard what you,
and then
that was it.
That was all. But no, we're asking a question. This morning. I want to hear your heart on this right here, man. Does the word family still have value?
It has, depends on what your mindset is, but because of our selfishness, I think God has said something to that effect, and greed and lack of prioritizing and worldliness and trying to keep up with the Joneses and our values, it has kind of diminished the whole thing. And it's the me, my, and I. We suffer from that syndrome. And it's getting worse and worse every day. And sometimes you mention God and you said the wrong thing when that's the right thing. But they don't want to hear that, because when you put in that entity, that divine mindset, then people don't want to be dictated to. Not necessarily dictated to. It's a suggestion. Godliness is a suggestion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he don't make you do anything. You submit to the will. If you don't, fine. It's like this. You do or you don't. You're a free agent. You can do whatever you want. But when it comes to family, because he ordained family, then if you don't have him in that,
come on,
it kind of goes downhill. It kind of goes downhill from there, because then you try to exclude him, and you have no instructions on how to keep it together.
Exactly. Wow, that's good. Rico, talk to me, brother. I'm gonna solo screen you for a second.
Okay. I'm glad you went there, man. Badger hit on something. He said some words that I wanted to hit on. He said community and family. And we have a tendency over here, not only in America, but it just, in general, to make certain words similar or parallel to each other. We'll associate them together when they really shouldn't be. So I'm gonna throw these definitions out there because I had to put this out there. I looked up the definition of family, and I already knew this, but sometimes I can't put the words together the way I need to. So I'm gonna put this definition out there. Family, a group of one or more parents and their children living together as a unit. The second definition, all the descendants of a common ancestor. That's family. So now we're going to look up this word community, and the word community says a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Number 2 definition, a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Now, sometimes we have people that get in situations where they don't have the proper family atmosphere, and they find a substitute. And that substitute is the community. Right? Might be a gang, might be some organization, might be this radio show. But that's your community, your adopted family. But it still is not the family. But see, if we don't have a clear definition of what the family is, then we won't understand really what the value of family should be. So let's go back to what I was saying earlier about the eugenesis and Planned Parenthood in this situation. We look at today about how many children are being born to women that have different fathers from promiscuity or different reasons, whatever the reason may be. You have women that have 5, 6, 7 different children by 7 different guys, and maybe 7, 8 more different guys that got tested. This is nothing new. It happened in the past. That was a whole, one of the reasons behind birth control was to control the birth rate. But now let's talk about trauma, and let's talk about that definition of family again. See, I don't like to be the person that always goes to the black point of view, but I like to speak from the point of view of people that come from special circumstances. And we came from a situation of special circumstances. We had women and fathers that had children and probably thought they would have had a family that had those children taken from them. They maybe had their loved one, the husband or the wife, taken from them and sold. Some of those people had children sold and were never able to find them. Some slave masters kept in touch with who they sold them to so the parents could, get back with them later on, or maybe they could go buy their child back or their wife or husband back. But a lot of times, those records weren't kept. So imagine putting yourself in the life of a woman that had children that were sold, had a husband that she had that child with that was sold, that still had a yearning for family. She knows her family is gone, but she don't know where they went. Dang, she ain't got a clue if they're alive or dead or what. Whether they were sacrificed, experimented on. But what she does know, she has a child out there, but she's supposed to just move on. No therapy, no justice. So she has another baby. Then that baby gets sold. She's under one of the most brutal slave masters. So on and on she is, once again having baby after baby after baby. But she doesn't have a family, even though she knows this family exists. She's yearning on the inside. She's traumatized and pain because she lost these children. So now she's looking for a community, and she might adopt a community to substitute for her family. But that was an agenda. We have to understand that the value of the family was actually intentionally meant to be destroyed with some people under certain special circumstances. So I don't want to try to make it a race issue all the time, but I do like to speak from the point of view of the people that were the most treated in certain situations. Certain situations, I ain't gonna be able to speak from a black point of view. But from this, you're talking about family, the black diaspora is suffering more than anybody from really even knowing what that definition is or how they experience it.
Exactly. Good deal. We got kicked off there for a second, so if we lost you on the phone line, give us a call back. If we lost you on the phone line, give us a call back.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
I'm trying to call some folks back.
That's why is that why you were trying to call me, Raheem?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Let me go back to Toya with the T. Toya, what's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, we got to know a God. Humans are always going to put something out there to create a divide because we just cannot be with him. We got to be beside ourselves. We got to dictate and point something. But without a God, how do we know what's the difference between good and bad? And without a God, how do we know what it takes to treat or be good to someone, whether it be family, spouse, or whatever? So I'm learning how to stop reading these humans books because God gave the humans the power and the dominion to be able to write these things and do it with truth, excellence, and dignity. And not all the times we do that. But for me, right? Because listen, We got to keep in mind, my family, unfortunately, was one that dwells with incest, molestation, abuse. You understand what I'm saying? So the only way that I could deal with them, because nobody wants to go away from their family. Nobody wants to face and acknowledge that their family are not what society puts them out to
Mm-hmm.
be. You understand what
Yes.
I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it was only a God who sustained me to be me enough to represent family, regardless of who they were and what they were. You know, God had entered my life a long time to help shield the anger of what humans do, and
Mm-hmm.
and help me to acknowledge you for what you do to me and not just wipe out everything. But God is such a good God, and you have great dominion. You absolutely right. You cannot know your blood family and still have a family, here we go again, in Christ, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
God you serve, because whatever God is on the side of good is going to be necessary in order for a family or a relationship to grow and be abundant and of excellence. So I think oftentimes we need to understand the two entities, the two spirits, the two energies that ultimately are in control of everything, the good and the evil. Call them whoever you may. If you don't want me to call you a name that ain't yours, don't go calling my God a name that ain't his. But
Mm-hmm.
he's necessary in order for us to even have a clue or inkling of what family is. And if we take it back to Egypt, we weren't the only ones that was enslaved and then beaten. It happened to a lot of people, so we don't get no special privileges. But we are, it's at the forefront now because we were the last. But at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, for those people that show you love, goodness, kindness, joy, want to make sure you got something to eat, want to make sure you clothed with no bad intentions, making sure you okay, that's your family. And that again is something that God gave you a dominion to be able to know, acknowledge, and make a conscious choice to put in your place and be by your side.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. This is Bishop, Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Bishop, good morning, sir. Asking a question, does the word family still have value?
The word family does still have value. The issue is, do they value it? You asked about the word. The acts thereof may, prove to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But if I listened to Toya and I listened to Rico a little bit, and I have to agree with both what they were saying. And you need to put God in the dynamics of your relationship and dynamics of your family, and that'll give a whole lot more strength to what we look at as a relationship. But the word itself still has value. It's just the acts that we have to look at and
Mm-hmm.
changing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Rico, let me ask you this question. Can or do sometimes people tend to sell or are willing to sell their family out for finances?
Oh, yes, man. People do that all the time, man. I mean, brothers. I mean, families go to war at funerals. That's the worst time when you see
Mm-hmm.
people get divided. Man, let it be some money involved. Let a bank account have existed, but no will made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, talking about family members, children, grandchildren, cutting each other's heads off for that estate. I mean, yeah, it happens all the time, man, for whatever reason. I mean, but some people do it for love. I mean, I've seen people, stab their brother in the back. I mean, I've seen an episode of Cheaters like that one time with two brothers. One brother was cheating. Well, one brother was cheating with his brother's wife. So
Mm.
selfishness, man. I mean, greed and selfishness is like it's so prevalent, not amongst everybody, but with a lot of people. When it comes to people, their wants, not their needs, but their wants, especially when it comes to finances. Yeah, people will sell out the family because, like I said earlier, in our community, the meaning and value of family is not really understood. It's not
Exactly.
respected, and it's not honored. You know, it's more or less, you know, people now are out for themselves, and they'll cut your throat whether you're the brother or not.
Cassandra, what do you say to that, man? Would family members sell themselves out for money? Cassandra?
Yeah, yeah. This one, yeah. This one sort of hits home for me because I've had this happen in my family, and it was devastating. You want to stop talking to somebody about money that I just don't get it when especially when it comes to money, how people let money separate them from family. I don't care if it's $2 or if it's $2 million. I just don't get that. And me being, I officiate a lot of funerals, and somebody said about, man, these folks be fighting at the funeral about what somebody left at the funeral.
Wow.
I mean, literally about to go hand to hand over money at a funeral. I've never understood that, and I've seen it so much.
And half the time, Cassandra, they had nothing to do with the person obtaining the things they have.
That's it.
Had nothing to do with it.
That's it. That's it. Nothing to do with it. But it's sad. It saddens me when I see that. I just did a funeral a couple of weeks ago where they were having issues about somebody not paying their share at the funeral. At the funeral. You're trying to lay the person to rest, and they acting a fool. So it's sad. You know, it's just sad.
Wow. Toya with a T, what do you say to that, man? It can get ugly. It can get real ugly. Toya, unmute. We can't hear you.
Okay, yeah. No,
There you go.
you know what? You're right. But that's the people before them fault, right? Because we think that somebody is supposed to know something when we raise these kids. Oh, you're supposed to know better. That money ain't everything. Have you ever, since they came out your womb to whatever day it is, discussed that with them? Half of the times, this is our fault because we put everything on money. Oh, I can't stay on your birthday. I got to go to work. Oh, I can't do this, that, and third. Got to go to work. Oh, can't do this, that, and third. Got to go get that money. Oh, I can't stay here sick. Got to go get that money. We base importance, everything about money. The same way about God, right? You know why don't nobody know about God? Because don't nobody make them do the things our parents did. We had to go to a church. We had to listen to a word. We had to do all this. We had to do all that. So we knew about it. So it diminishes because of us. We don't teach it to them. We don't make it a part of the culture. We don't make it a part of a daily routine. You want to give birth to a whole human that knows nothing. The human comes here and it's only going to absorb what you show it and what you say to it. It don't know what's in your head. You ain't never had a conversation and talk to them about money, and don't let it drive you. And family is first, and there's going to be disappointments. You want to play around and try to shield them from stuff. And then when it comes down to the 30th year, all they know is, well, I get mama money. I ain't got to share with y'all because I took care of her, and I did this, and I did the right thing, and I did this, that, and third, and I ain't got to be doing this, that, and third. And here we go. Because we teach them everything else except for the true and real fundamental values on what it means to be a human being of good standard. We forget about the time when they was 3 and we talked all this mess around them, in front of them, and on side of them. We forget the times we talked around them at 12, thinking that they don't know but don't understand is helping to develop the character of who they are. And then when they get 30, they ain't got no sense because you ain't never told them no sense. They just picked up the little change that fell out your mouth along the way.
Wow. Mr. Neal, what's on your heart, brother? Come and talk to me. We're talking about this thing. I'll pull your mic up there. Talking about does the word values, does the word family still have value? What do you say to that?
Yeah,
trying to get your thing, your volume turned up here. There you go.
It does. It does, and I say that, but I'm hearing everyone, and they're just sometimes it's not about what's taught; it's about what's instilled in you, in your heart. And you have to realize that you don't always have to be your family. You make that decision to either teeter or you're gonna totter. And I say that because a lot of times we want to blame it on the atmosphere, but we can change that atmosphere
Individually. Yeah.
individually. It's up to you. And I'm a component to believe that God designed the family to love one another. And I do not believe that I'm just that silly to know that if God put it together, no man can tear it apart. But it's you and your individual decision making that makes it volatile.
How much does greed play into that sometimes?
It can be greed. Sometimes it can be envious. It can be jealous. I mean, however you want to put it. It can be. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. My father passed away in 2002. My aunt. I'm talking about his sister, which I'm not gonna really call her name, but I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody who born again, baptized, and born again Christian. My baby brother, and he'll have no reason to lie to me. He said, man, he overheard them talking. When her and her daughter talking, said they not getting anything else. And we still held our head. I never forget. We went to our mother, and Kenan told what he heard. And my mother said, regardless of what they say, remember y'all are Neil boys.
Yeah. Come on.
That's what she said to us. And that said something about how we have to conduct ourselves. So right then, before we walked out that door, we made a decision that we're going to treat them with kindness and with love.
Wow. And then let all the other
And
stuff
right.
infiltrate.
That's something that has nothing to do with us. That's something that has been embedded in them for years.
Yeah.
I didn't even know she felt that way about us. But I'm glad that I know.
Yeah.
But at the same token, do I look at her as not being my aunt? No. One thing she asked me, she said, if I leave here today or tomorrow, I want you to, as my nephew, to preach my funeral. I told her, I will preach it like I will preach.
Yeah.
I will preach like God tell me to preach.
Exactly.
It won't be no, well, she said this, she said it, because I didn't hold that against her. That's on her. That's her indictment, not mine. That's her on her docket. What the hymnologist, when he picked the pen up, he said, my record will be there. And he said it's going to be pages that's going to be dark and it's going to be fair. He said, when I sit there upon the judgment throne,
come on.
He said, I know by and by. So my thing is that I don't have nothing to do with that. I still love them. I still send them scriptures in the morning. I still do everything I'm supposed to do as a nephew and as their cousin. And they my first cousins.
Yeah.
And for them to say that told me that it was something hidden that they had against us.
Another agenda.
Right, exactly. But we didn't care. My mother, it took my mother to tell her. She said, I don't care what they say. Y'all are Neil boys. And that's how we uphold it.
Yeah.
Y'all got a responsibility not to, even though your father's sitting here, you got a responsibility to me because I'm still living and you're not going to embarrass me.
That's good. That's good. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm just listening. I kind of like how Minister Neil said it. It's to each person to make sure that their family is okay. I mean, whatever, you ain't got to get along because you family. You don't automatically get along because you're family. You've taught to respect the fact that some of you are family. But then when somebody crosses that line, it's wide open. Because, you can sit there and try to make something work that ain't supposed to work if you want to. You care nothing about them being your family. If they ain't no good, they ain't no good.
Amen.
I'm going to deal with you just like I deal with anybody else. You don't have no regard for me. You broken my house. You could have asked me for whatever you wanted, but you decided to steal it. You got them type of see. That's the reason why we got these problems, because y'all keep letting people do that. Y'all keep allowing people to behave that way. See me, I don't fool with you. I cut you off. You're not welcome around me, and you gonna know it. It ain't gonna be no rumor you heard. I'm gonna look you dead in your face and tell you I don't want to see you no more.
Mm-hmm.
So do know if I see you, it's gonna be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't already told you. I don't care nothing about it. I don't told your mama, your brothers, your sisters, and everybody else. You ain't welcome. So you know how. So you know how it's gonna jump off if you decide to cross that line. You know how it's gonna jump off. Don't even worry about it because we family. We know how it's gonna jump off.
Yep, exactly. Don't bring them over here.
Don't even come in my face with that foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cuz. The first person hit you gonna be cuz.
Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Let it go on somewhere this morning. What's on your heart, Badger?
I kind of agree with Leonard, to be honest. And you know what Neil was touching on. That's kind of what I was hinting at with a lot of the things I was saying about perception. Rico reading the definitions that he read earlier. Community is community, family is family. It's interesting, the perceptions that a lot of people have about it. One of the funniest things I ever heard, which I think has a lot of truth to it, is looking at the word ego, and looking at it as an acronym, easing God out. And I think there's a lot of people that are in this ego mentality because of, in a lot of ways, the way society is in a lot of places. I feel that there's a lot going on. I do feel that some of it's slowly changing and people are starting to wake up and pay attention to things that are important. But for a long time, a lot of that stuff, it literally depended on where you grew up and the way your family chose to continue certain teachings and stuff like that. One of my greatest hopes is, some of us that kind of have a really good idea of how to live, and what family is and love and things like that, that people that are listening to us talk, pick up on some of it and make it their own truth in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that fits them best.
That's good. That's good. Cassandra, you there?
Yes, I am.
What's on your heart?
I pray that what Badger said comes to pass, because I did not grow up knowing that I was loved. I was never told that I was loved. The way that I was treated said that I wasn't loved. But I had this yearning in my heart to make sure that my children knew that they were loved. So it took me to start changing that dynamic. Even though I didn't know how to do it, I didn't know how to love my children. I didn't. I'll be totally honest.
It's your choice.
Because I was not shown that. And I thought being hard and, and the way they talk to you, I think that's the same mentality. I think a lot of times when women are in abusive relationships and they say, oh, but he loves me. Mm-hmm. It's the same way that it came across to me as a kid. And then once when I was 30 something, I finally asked my grandmother why, she never said she loved me. She never hugged her. She said, well, I thought y'all knew. I had a roof over your head. I put food in your mouth. Mm-mm. That was her idea. I'm serious, y'all. That was her concept of what love was. But for me, she had just said, I love you, or given me a hug as a kid. That would have meant the world to me, because my mother died when we were very young. So, it saddens me. That's why I try to tell people that I love them and show them that I love them, as much as I can.
Good deal. Good deal. K with an E, talk to me, sister. What's on your heart?
Just listening,
Now,
and
now this radio. Now you gotta
I'm
talk. Now this radio. You can't just listen now.
I'm listening, and I definitely agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I do show love regardless. I feel that's what got my brother and them up out of here. It was too much love. They couldn't deal with it, and they just left. And they don't know what to do. But that's all you gotta do. Is I just kill people with love. Period. Like somebody can be like, I don't like her. And somebody else will come to me and say such stuff, don't like you. And I'll be like, did she tell you why? Or did he tell you why? No, they don't really have no reason. I said, did I do something to him? Did I offend him? No. Well, now when I see this person and I know you don't like me, but you don't have a reason to not like me, then I speak, hey, how you doing? What's up, Joe? And he's just looking and he's speaking, he's being, fake. So to know that you can make a person speak to you and act like they like you and love you, and you know the truth, and they don't know man, I love it.
That's good. That's
They
good.
probably be like, why she talking to him? I told her he don't like her. That's what he told you. I want him to tell me now.
Toya with a T, talk to me. Rico, coming to you next.
Well, man, yeah, absolutely. And see, these things is what we have to be mindful of. We have to be mindful of who we are and how we're raising our kids up. I got a story, and this is kind of what this reminds me of, right? One of my, I don't want to say it, but listen, one of my nieces. Matter of fact, I had a nephew do it too. I told him to go clean some chicken, just thinking that they knew. They should know that because they seen us clean chicken for X amount of years. One actually used the detergent, and one was finna to use the detergent. And I'm like, wait, ho, what you doing? He's not finna clean the chicken. Boy, you don't clean chicken like that. What's wrong with you? But see, again, we keep forgetting that when we're raising these little individuals, they know nothing. They come here with no state of mind, and we really take that for granted. And it comes in our intentions, our actions, and behaviors. We pick it up from where? If I don't know how not to be, how do I know what to be? And that's kind of the difference, because sometimes, yeah, you are going to have to fight, but you got to fight for the life that you want. And if the life that you want is vile, because see, we want to be in denial. If the life that you want is not respectful, hollering, cursing, it doesn't matter what you tell them. It matters what you do and how you act with them. Oh, I like to be respected, but you yelling at home, right? Because we got two sides. The way the kids act in the house, and then the way their kids acting outside, and then we tell them how they better not be acting outside. See, all this goes hand in hand on when we grow up older and how we treat other people. And we don't pay attention to it. When we lie to our kids about bunnies and fairies, and we're not teaching them to lie, even though we tell them not to lie, but we don't understand it's helping them to build who they are. And it's the same way with this money factor. And because our kids live off of seeing us provide money for them, there's this other issue when it comes to you passing away. You know what I'm saying? And it's this other issue to where if we don't teach each other, your individuality is so powerful that it can contaminate others, especially when you're a mom and a dad. That contamination, even if you've grown from it, can still be something that individual is holding on to, and it can be selfishness. Maybe you always taking your kid money, and that's why they so greedy now. You didn't teach them to be like that, but they could never have that money to themselves, and you never asked nobody else for money, and then here at a funeral we clown it. You know what I'm saying? It's these individual things that we grow within ourselves from our environment that I don't think we pay attention to, that goes into this topic. So everything is not about money, and in some kind of way we're gonna have to get that, I guess, projection to people in order to change those kind of habits, because that's it's not good.
Exactly. Rico, let me ask you this question. How could two people grow up in the same household, brother and sister, brother and brother, sister and sister, whatever the case, siblings, and hate each other?
Bad blood.
Yeah, different reasons. One of them, those are individual characteristics that may cause that. One may be wholesome and one may be selfish and envious. One might be skin, one might be dark skin. Differences. That's what causes the differences. A huge myriad of different reasons why siblings can. So it's really hard for you to just pinpoint one issue because there are so many different issues where you have siblings at each other's throats. They kill each other. I think I told y'all once before, I grew up with a guy that killed his twin and his oldest brother. His twin, that wasn't just a brother and a brother. That was his identical twin. So, you know, sometimes people have mental breakdowns. Sometimes people are mentally dysfunctional. One child might be all right, one might not be all right. So, I mean, you know, each individual, we got to respect that each individual deserves its own amount of positive attention, consistent attention. So if you got kids, you got to understand that you still need to give both of them a lot of attention and concern. You got to pay attention to them to see what's going on with them because they can be two totally different ways. You just can't assume because one is this way that the rest of them going to be that way. You know, you made straight A's don't mean the other one's automatically going to get straight A's. One of them you might have to help a little bit more. One may get it easier.
That's
and
good.
I was glad Cassandra went there earlier when she said that about growing up without having love or being told that because I was the same way. And you know, one thing about it is in these choices that people make, they're making these choices along with trying to figure things out. See, grown people go on a job that they ain't never been on before, never had any experience on, and they have to get trained. If they go out there to that job the first day, they ain't never did it before, and the boss man tell them, okay, just get out there and go to work. You're gonna look at them like, man, what you want me to do? I ain't never ran this thing before. I don't even know what the purpose is. I don't know what the value is. I don't have any reasons in how this operates to become successful. I don't know what y'all looking for out of me. So now if an adult can't go into a job he's never been in before and get it the first day, why should a child? Now, a child definitely would need more guidance and more direction. But I don't think a lot of parents realize just how much guidance and direction, consistent quality time that they have to put into doing that and not assuming that child is going to know how to clean a chicken because we cook chicken all the time and they be sitting here watching me. Well, they might be looking at you, but they ain't paying attention to what you're doing precisely. I mean, hey, I used to read and just be reading words, but not retaining one word that I was saying. It took me 4 years to read and imagine what I was saying, picture what I was saying. Before then, I could be reading words and then somebody go back and ask me to repeat what I said, and I didn't even know where I had just started from. Because I wasn't paying attention to nothing I was reading, I was just saying it. And you know, that comes with paying attention. You have to pay attention and show concern, quality concern, you know, actually pick up what they're supposed to do in that training.
Gotcha. Mr. What do you say to that, man? How could two people, siblings, live in the same house and hate each other?
That's something that I think that we have to realize that when that kind of comes about, that's something that's from the heart. Because hate is something from the heart, and I truly believe that. I don't think that's a mind thing. I think that's a heart thing. And we have to understand something that when you're dealing with hatred, love has to supersede that. But it's difficult to do that when sometimes I've heard, I was listening to Rico and my dear sister Cassandra speak about not growing up with love. My heart goes out to them because I didn't have that. I had my grandmother, my grandfather. I had my brothers. Even like right now with the illness that my mother's going through, you see the love that she's been poured. She tells me sometimes that she feels overwhelmed about the love that she's getting from people. And sometimes I think that says that you have to look at that child and understand that something that Rico said that's very profound. You have to spend time with those children. And I think sometimes we're too busy working that certain things that the devil comes in and manifests certain issues between those siblings that you don't even know that's not even developing. You don't even know they're developing.
Exactly.
And that happens because and it's not the fault of the parent, because you got to work, especially if you're a single parent. You have to work. And let's not say that it's the parent's fault.
And no two ways about
right,
that.
right. But at the same token, I think that you have to have some kind of discernment in some kind of way with your children. And it's not. Sometimes people think it's discernment coming from a spiritual side of. No, you just need to know your kids. It's things that I did that I know my mother didn't know anything about. And it wasn't because she wasn't active with me. It was just that I was good at hiding what I was doing.
Okay.
And I'm saying,
slick.
right? No, I ain't gonna say I was slick. I was good at hiding what I was doing. That's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. But at the same token, I understand that when you're in those kind of environments, that's so toxic that I was glad when my dear sister said that she made it her point to not perpetrate that same toxic behavior on her kids.
Yeah.
So that's when you know that God has now touched her to say, look, I know what happened to you, but this is why sometimes I tell people, I say, sometimes God take us through certain things so we know how that water tastes. So we know not to go and give that water to anybody else. That's why when I hear certain people talk, I don't say anything, because I want to hear what you got to say. Because sometimes it ain't so much what I say, it's all about what I hear. And God said sometimes, we also got to be hearers and doers of this word. So as you hear, you also got to be a doer. So sometimes it's good that when she said it, because that tells me that not only was she hearing God's word, but she was doing the word by protecting her kids and saying, look, I'm not going to take you through the hell I went through.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not going to take you through the mental torment that I went through. I'm going to give you everything that God has given me, which is what? Love.
Yes, come on.
And that's what we have to go back to. We can sit back and say, oh, well, I don't have this, but God gave you one thing. God gave you life. And gave it more abundantly. Or more abundant don't mean that it's going to be financial. Sometimes it could be that you got kids around here that'll run through a wall for you.
Yeah.
I know brothers right now. I'm telling you, when I was out there selling dope, I tell people this all the time. I said, one time I know a dude came with us and said, look, you see that girl, that lady right there? You see, he pointed at her. She was walking across the street. We had been selling to that woman for years. That dude came, he said, look, he said, we trying to get my mother in a rehab. He said, y'all ain't doing what y'all supposed to. He said, if I come back here, if I find anybody selling her something, he said, I'm going to wet this whole block up.
Know what that meant.
And I told him, I said, Doc, you ain't got to worry about me, because I respect that.
Yeah.
That's that man's mother.
Yeah.
Again, God looked beyond all our faults and supplied our needs. So why can't we do the same thing for one another? Exactly. And that's what she did.
And when he said he's gonna wet the whole block up, y'all know exactly
Yes,
what he's
sir.
saying. What he's saying.
I'll never forget that.
I'm going to Cassandra, then I'm coming to Badger. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I'm grateful that I'm not. Let me put it like this: more messed up than I am now, because I'm still messed up in some ways. But God. Let me put it like that. Because, not only was I being mistreated as a kid, but my self-esteem was destroyed because it was a coloration thing in my family. If you see my siblings, two of them, you wouldn't even know that they were my sisters by looking at us. Because high yellow, I'm dark brown. I have two sisters that are high yellow. So there was always that, oh yeah, she's so pretty. Ooh, 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 ooh. And that, people don't realize the damage that do when you compare. I never compared my children to each other. I never compared them. I never said one was more important than the other. I just did not do that, And people had a way of, and they still do it today, colorization and making the darker kids darker skinned kids feel worse than the lighter skinned kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through that as a kid, you know, because my sisters were light skinned and what they called pretty, and I wasn't.
Mm.
You know, so I don't know. You know, we just need to. I tried to do better, and I hope that all of us would do better if we find ourselves comparing our children.
Mm-hmm. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Man, learning acceptance
Mm-hmm.
and learning about ourselves and how we react or don't react to situations in life, I think plays a very strong factor into a lot of what we're talking about. It's amazing to hear the things I'm hearing and stuff, because a lot of it I honestly didn't learn a lot about it outside of my grandma teaching me things. You know, once she passed away, I didn't really have family until I met my wife. You know, so I'm still learning about what real, not what I thought was family, but what real family is. So I think that's something that a lot of people have a misunderstanding of, you know, is the choice we all have in acceptance of what family is.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, it boils down to, you know, were they taught about it? Did they experience it? And so on and so on. So I think there's so many factors that comes into play. Everything from personal opinion to doctrine to life experiences to society. There's so many factors that plays into what is family and what isn't family. And I think that's something that, you know, a lot of people don't really put a lot of thought to. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying, you know, when you look at it in a general sense, you know, there's a lot of people that stay around their family even though they're, you know, bad eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they feel they have to.
Mm-hmm. This is a topic right here, because we're actually going to run out of time, but this is a topic we need to really revisit this topic again. The very near future, we definitely need to revisit this topic. Let me go to our Bishop, and then I'm going to go to Tucson. Bishop, what's on your heart?
Well, it goes back to the question that's asked, and the word itself does have value, and it really does. The acts of what we have problems with.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was listening to Cassandra, and she was speaking about her experience, as well as the complexity of her complex of her siblings being light-skinned. Because you're beautiful. Dark skin, you're beautiful. And your beauty is internal as well as external. Because what you do for people is what demonstrates the love of God. And I don't think anyone that you reach out to help would have the audacity to say, I don't like you, you ugly because you dark skinned or brown skinned. Is the fact being that you reach out beyond your scope or your zone to help others and to usher in something better for them in their living. This is what families are supposed to do. And believe it or not, we are just a big family, regardless to the color of our skin. We're brothers and sisters. And if that biological don't treat you right or don't value you, then the others will, because of what you bring to the table. The reason there's so much confusion and division within families and family dynamics is jealousy. Jealousy caused Cain to kill Abel. And it ain't, oh, he mama favorite, she daddy favorite, or anything of that nature. It's just from jealousy that has been born in the individual because they feel a certain way, but the acts thereof are not even true. And as I was growing up, my brother and I, we were brothers, and I loved my brother, but I'm an extrovert. I go out, I meet, I communicate with people. I'm not sitting into a shell of human of fear. But my brother's an introvert. He told me, I hate you. And I said, what? Now he hang out with all his friends, carry on. I never heard him say he hates his friend, but I'm his blood brother. He said, I hate you. And I'm like, wow. So for 4 years, he and I didn't speak. If I saw him at mom, at anything doing with the family, hey man, how you doing? And I keep it moving. So somebody got the gall to tell me they hate me, they'll also hurt me.
Yeah.
And one day I said, man, we need to talk. And I said, what is it that I did to you to make you tell me that you hate me? And he said, your personality. People like you. I said, what? You hate me because people like me? Well, if you get outside your shell, they'll like you too. They think you're weird. They think you're strange because you don't take out the time to communicate with anybody. But you gonna blame me for my outgoing personality? Come on, brother. So now, after confronting him and saying what I had to say to him and find out why, I had to try to teach him, man, you are somebody. And you can be better and do better. Now, I want you to meet this person. Well, I ain't like you. I said, but I'm trying to get you to be you, but get out of you. Because the problem is, most times, folks are in them, caught up in them, and they're the ones who think a certain thing. Just come out and tell me straight up, I'm going to keep it moving.
Exactly.
Do what I can do.
Let me go to Tucson. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I'm the last of 12 children. And one thing that I can say is we've never fallen out.
Yes, Lord.
My oldest brother and I was talking about that. Now, look, we don't agree on everything because all of us were different. You know, some of them, they walk that straight line, and some of us, you know, have at one time or another straddled the fence, and some of us had never gone on either side of the fence. Dad, mom, you know, always you seen them go to church and do this and that and other. We got to grown and we made our own decisions, but we never fell out. I tell my children the same thing. Y'all fall out with me, but don't fall out with each other because there's a value that's missing. And, you know, sometimes we look at trying to be liked and disliked, or who like us, or who do dislike us, and why. And we value things that really don't matter. One thing, and I said it because we have time, one thing can ruin family. Money. Money.
Exactly.
If you really want to find out how a person is, give them power and riches.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, y'all, it's been a great broadcast, man. It's 10:03. Got to get on out of here, man. We're gonna revisit this one again because there's so many different layers that we did not touch on. There's so we didn't even scratch the surface. To be honest with you about this family thing, I really should have, and it's partly my fault. I should have came to it a little sooner, but the other part of the conversation was good too. So, man, listen, we're gonna touch this one again. We're gonna definitely touch this one again. Toya with the T. What's going on at 3:00 today? Let me put the test on you. See, can you get this one? Toya with the T. There you go.
All right, there we go. Well, if y'all would like to hear the show in its entirety, you can check it out today at 3:00 on www.dkmradio.com. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. I ain't say it wrong. Entirety. I got to remind myself to do wrong. My bad.
There you go. There you go. Cassandra Green. Hit that mute button. The mute button. 3, 2, 1. Cassandra? Cassandra refused to hit the mute button. Bishop? Bishop, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Pray us out, brother.
All right. Righteous Father, in your name, Christ Jesus, we come before you, Lord. Give you thanks and praise and easy, Lord, for last night's rest, this morning's rise. We thank you, Lord God, for this wonderful broadcast, for those that are able to listen and those who are able to call in and give their input. We do trust and hope, Lord, that these programs are beneficial to the minds of those who listen. And Lord God, and the advice that's given, Father God, is not altogether personal, but to the edification of what they need to do and know. We ask, Father God, if you will bless those that are on the bed of affliction, those that are suffering with COVID, those who are suffering from any other matter of illness and or disease. Lord God, give them confidence, strength, give their families confidence, strength through all the adversity that they are dealing with. And we ask, Father God, that you will continue to bless DKM. Bless Raheem, Lord God, bless what he's doing and trying to do, that he may be beneficial in every aspect. And Lord God, keep him overcharged in love and spirit, Father God, through moments of disappointment. And Lord God, we ask if it be your will, let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart be accepted in thy sight. O Lord, our strength and our redeemer. In your name, Christ Jesus, our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Anybody got anything before we get out of here?
Great show.
Good deal. Good deal. Good deal.
Have a blessed day, everybody.
Absolutely. You do the same. Do the same. It is now 10:06. 10:06. We're about to get out of here for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and the associates and the Morning Glow. Thank you for allowing it to be a part of your day. It is now 10:06. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light in you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. You all have a great day. And if you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? I love you. Have a great day.